February 28th, 2022, 11:47 a.m. Irpin, Ukraine. Russian forces advancing. Northwestern approach to Kyiv. Through Irpin. Strategic suburb. Population 60,000. Between Russian positions and Ukrainian capital. Must be crossed. Must be controlled. Russian forces pushing hard. Ukrainian defenders falling back. Slowly. Professionally. But falling back. Irpin River between city and Kyiv. One major bridge. Carries highway. Civilians evacuating across it. Thousands daily. Ukrainian military using it. Supplies. Reinforcements. Everything. Critical infrastructure. Must be preserved. For retreat. For evacuation. For supply. But Russian forces approaching. Will reach bridge soon. Will cross. Will advance to Kyiv. Ukrainian command faces impossible choice. Keep bridge. Allow retreat and evacuation. Risk Russian advance to capital. Or destroy bridge. Stop Russian advance. Trap defenders. Trap civilians. Prevent evacuation. Cut supply line. Cost terrible. Necessity absolute. Decision made. Destroy bridge. Engineers assigned. Vitaly Skakun. Others. Sappers. Explosives experts. Mission wire bridge. Detonate. Stop Russians. At any cost. This cost will be personal. Skakun volunteers. Leads team. Reaches bridge. Under fire. Wires explosives. Team withdraws. Skakun remains. Finalizing. Russian forces close. Too close. No time to withdraw. No time to run. Skakun radios. Bridge wired. Detonating. No time. Last transmission. Presses detonator. Bridge explodes. Collapses. Impassable. Russian advance stopped. Skakun dead. Sacrifice absolute. Bridge destroyed. Kyiv approach blocked. Defenders trapped. Civilians stranded. But Russian forces can't advance. Can't reach capital. Must find alternate routes. Longer routes. Exposed routes. Irpin Bridge destruction changed Kyiv battle. Through engineering. Through sacrifice. Through accepting terrible cost for strategic necessity. This is Irpin. This is how Kyiv was saved. Through bridge destroyed. Through retreat cut. Through sacrifice accepted. The aftermath develops. Bridge destroyed. Impassable. Russian forces reach river. Cannot cross. Bridge destroyed completely. River barrier restored. Russian advance stops. At Irpin. Must redirect. North. South. Anywhere but direct approach. This delay matters. Hours become days. Days matter strategically. Kyiv defense gains time. Prepares better. Reinforces position. Receives supplies. All because Irpin Bridge destroyed. All because engineers sacrificed. Meanwhile, defenders trapped. Irpin side. Must fight way out. Or surrender. Choose fighting. Urban warfare. Building by building. Toward river. Finding crossing points. Alternative bridges. Small. Dangerous. But possible. Slowly extract. Over days. Some make it. Some don't. All because bridge destroyed. Necessary cost. Additionally, civilians trapped. Thousands. Irpin side. Cannot evacuate easily. Bridge gone. Must find alternatives. Some swim. Some boats. Some wait. Some die waiting. All because bridge destroyed. Humanitarian cost. Terrible. Necessary strategically. Bridge destruction saved Kyiv. Stopped Russian advance. Bought critical time. Cost defenders. Cost civilians. Cost Skakun his life. Cost terrible. Gain strategic. This is warfare's calculus. Terrible. Necessary. Effective. At 11:47 p.m., March 15th, 2 weeks after destruction, Irpin fully liberated. Russian forces withdrawn. Never crossed river effectively. Never reached Kyiv from northwest. Bridge destruction was decisive. Stopped advance at critical moment. bought time for Kyiv defense, enabled defensive preparations, contributed to Northern Offensive's failure. Russian forces eventually withdrew, redirected, defeated, partially due to Irpin Bridge, partially due to sacrifice. Skakun posthumously declared Hero of Ukraine, highest honor, for sacrifice, for mission accomplished, for Kyiv saved. Bridge remained destroyed, rebuilt eventually, but moment mattered. February 28th, bridge destroyed, Russian advance stopped, Kyiv saved partially, through one engineer, one sacrifice, one terrible decision, one necessary cost. This is Irpin Bridge. This is how strategic victories get bought, through individual sacrifice, through terrible decisions, through accepting cost, for necessity, for victory, for survival. This is MilFront. And what happened at Irpin Bridge wasn't heroic last stand or glorious battle, was calculated sacrifice accepting, where engineers destroyed infrastructure cutting off friendly forces and civilians to stop enemy advance, or where one engineer's death bought time for capital city's defense, where tactical cost was accepted for strategic gain, but where individual sacrifice changed battle's trajectory. The question isn't whether bridge destruction worked strategically. Obviously did. Question is whether cost was justified, whether sacrificing retreat route and trapping friendlies and civilians was acceptable for stopping Russian advance, and what Irpin reveals about modern warfare, where strategic necessity sometimes requires accepting terrible tactical costs, including cutting off own forces and civilians to stop enemy hate. Official Russian statements about Irpin: operational, advancing, securing positions, never mentioned bridge destruction's impact, never acknowledged advance stopped, eventually regrouping, redirecting, prioritizing Donbass, euphemisms for failure. Bridge destruction contributed, stopped direct advance, forced alternatives, delayed everything. Russian statements couldn't acknowledge this. Better ignore than explain. Why single bridge mattered. Why couldn't overcome. Why advance failed. Evidence showed bridge destruction worked. Russian advance stopped, redirected, failed. Ukrainian statements: immediate heroism recognition. Engineer Skakun sacrificed self-destroying bridge. Stopped Russian advance. Saved Kyiv. All accurate. All honest about civilians stranded. Bridge gone. Retreat cut. All acknowledged. But strategic necessity. Russian advance stopped. Kyiv saved. Sacrifice justified by results. Skakun declared hero. Deservedly. Ukrainian statements balanced. Recognized cost. Celebrated necessity. Honored sacrifice. Reality was complex. Terrible. Necessary. Successful. Stay with me. Because the detail that explains why bridge destruction worked, why single bridge mattered, is going to show you that Irpin River creates natural barrier between northwestern approach and Kyiv. Crossing points limited. Bridge was primary. Others existed but smaller, less capable, less useful for military advance. Destroying main bridge forced Russian forces to alternatives. Smaller, slower, more vulnerable, more exposed. This delay was critical. Kyiv defense used time, prepared positions, received supplies, strengthened defenses. Without Irpin Bridge destruction, Russian forces advanced directly, faster, less exposed, potentially reaching Kyiv, potentially succeeding. Bridge destruction prevented this, bought time, enabled preparation, changed battle's trajectory. Single bridge mattered because geography, because alternatives inadequate, because timing critical. Bridge destroyed at perfect moment. Too early, troops and civilians still need it. Too late. Russians already across. February 28th, perfect timing. Bridge destroyed. Russians stopped. Kyiv saved. Through one bridge, one engineer, one sacrifice. Strategic impact enormous. From tactical destruction, This is warfare, where single points matter, where timing matters, where sacrifice matters. Irpin Bridge proved all three. Let's establish what Irpin Bridge destruction actually was, what it accomplished, what it cost. Strategic situation. February 28th. Russian forces advancing on multiple axes. Northwestern approach from Irpin. Direct route. Main highway. Fastest approach. Irpin River natural barrier. Bridge necessary for advance. Crossing points limited. Bridge primary. Russian forces approaching bridge. Ukrainian forces defending. Falling back slowly. Civilians evacuating across bridge. Thousands daily. Bridge critical. For retreat. For evacuation. For supply. For Russian advance unstoppable eventually. For reach bridge. Will advance to Kyiv. Unless. Bridge destroyed. Decision necessary. Terrible. Critical. Decision-making process. Ukrainian command evaluating. Keep bridge open. Allow continued retreat and evacuation. Risk Russian advance. Or destroy bridge. Stop Russians. Trap defenders. Strand civilians. Cut supply. Cost terrible. Necessity clear. Russian advance to Kyiv unacceptable. Must be stopped. Delayed. Prevented. Bridge destruction achieves this. Cost is acceptable strategically. Terrible personally. Humanitarianly. Militarily for trapped forces. But strategically necessary. Decision made. Execute bridge destruction. Mission assigned. Engineers volunteer. Skakun leads. Mission accepted. Cost understood. Bridge destruction execution. February 28th morning. Engineers approach bridge. Under fire. Russian forces close. Civilians still evacuating. Some trapped wrong side. Engineers work anyway. Wire explosives. Prepare detonation. Team withdraws. Skakun remains. Finalizing. Ensuring proper detonation. Russian forces too close. No time to withdraw. Radios command. No time. Detonating now. Presses detonator. Bridge explodes. Collapses. Impassable. Mission accomplished. Skakun killed. Sacrifice complete. Bridge destroyed. Russian advance stopped. At terrible cost. Accepted. For necessity. Immediate tactical costs. Bridge destroyed. Defenders Irpin side trapped. Several hundred. Must find way out. Find alternative crossings. Small bridges. Dangerous. Under fire. Some make it. Some don't. Cost in defenders significant. Hundreds trapped. Some killed. Some captured. Some escaped. Or because bridge destroyed. Additionally, civilians trapped. Thousands. Wrong side. Evacuation route gone. Must find alternatives. Dangerous. Deadly. Some succeed. Some die trying. All because bridge destroyed. Humanitarian cost significant. Terrible. Accepted for strategic necessity. This is warfare's reality. Costs are real. Paid by individuals. For strategic purposes. Irpin exemplifies. Strategic gains achieved. Bridge destroyed. Russian advance stopped. Direct route closed. Must find alternatives. North. South. Anywhere else. All longer. More exposed. More vulnerable. More delayed. This delay critical. Hours. Days. Used by Kyiv defense. Prepare positions. Receive supplies. Strengthen defenses. Additionally, Russian forces exposed. Alternative routes more vulnerable. Ukrainian forces strike. Harassment. Casualties. Delays compound. Russian northwestern offensive stalls. Eventually fails. Partially due to Irpin Bridge. Partially due to sacrifice. Strategic gain clear. Kyiv approach blocked. Time bought. Preparations enabled. Defense succeeded. Northern offensive failed. Bridge destruction contributed significantly. Through one bridge. One engineer. One sacrifice. Strategic impact enormous. 3 questions from the beginning. Time to answer them. Was cost justified? Strategically, yes. Tactically, terrible. Hundreds trapped. Thousands stranded. 1 engineer dead. All costs real. All terrible. But Russian advance stopped. Kyiv approach blocked. Time bought. Defense succeeded. Strategic necessity justified tactical cost. This is warfare's calculus. Costs are paid by individuals for strategic purposes. Irpin exemplifies. Cost terrible. Necessity absolute. Result successful. Therefore justified by results, by strategic necessity, by what was prevented. Russian advance to Kyiv. Potentially war losing. Prevented partially through bridge destruction. Through sacrifice. Through terrible cost accepted. Justified by prevention. By victory. By survival. Was sacrificing retreat and trapping friendlies acceptable? From command perspective, yes. Strategic necessity required. Bridge destruction stopped Russians. Saved Kyiv. Cost was acceptable. From trapped forces perspective, different. Sacrifice not voluntary for most. Imposed by command. For strategic reasons. Accepted out of necessity. Not choice. Morally complex. Strategically clear. Command made decision. Forces paid cost. Some escaped. Some didn't. All served strategic purpose. Whether acceptable depends on perspective. Command level, yes. Individual level, complicated. Result level, successful. Morality level, complex. War is complex. Decisions affect individuals. For strategic purposes. Irpin exemplifies completely. What does Irpin reveal about modern warfare? That strategic necessity sometimes requires terrible tactical costs. That infrastructure destruction can stop advances. That individual sacrifice matters strategically. That timing is critical. That geography matters. That commanders must make terrible decisions. That costs are real, paid by individuals. That strategic success sometimes built on tactical sacrifice. That modern warfare includes these complexities, these terrible choices, these necessary costs. Irpin reveals warfare's reality. Beyond glory, beyond heroism, strategic necessity, tactical sacrifice, individual cost, all real, all necessary sometimes, all complex morally, all effective strategically when executed correctly. Irpin executed correctly, cost terribly, succeeded strategically, taught permanently. The lesson from Irpin is that modern warfare sometimes requires commanders to accept terrible tactical costs for strategic gains. Bridge destruction trapped friendlies and civilians. Killed engineer. All costs real. All terrible. But stopped Russian advance. Saved Kyiv approach. Bought critical time. Strategic gain justified tactical cost. Harsh calculus. Necessary sometimes. Irpin exemplifies. Engineers destroyed infrastructure. Sacrificed themselves. Cut off friendlies. For strategic purpose. Successfully. This is warfare beyond heroism. Strategic thinking. Accepting costs. Making terrible decisions. For necessary purposes. Modern warfare includes this. Commanders must decide. Engineers must execute. Forces must accept. Results determine justification. Irpin's results. Russian advance stopped. Kyiv saved. Northern offensive failed. Results justify costs. Retrospectively. Strategically. Not personally. Not for those who paid. But strategically. For war effort. For survival. Costs justified. Through results. Through necessity. Through what was prevented. This is Irpin's lesson. Harsh. True. Necessary. Modern warfare's reality. This is MilFront. We analyze battles that define wars. Irpin bridge destruction defined Kyiv defense's success. One bridge destroyed. Russian advance stopped. Direct approach closed. Time bought. Defense succeeded. Cost was terrible. Skakun killed.
defenders trapped, civilians stranded, all real costs, all paid for strategic purpose, successfully.
Bridge destruction worked. Russian forces stopped, redirected, delayed, eventually defeated in north, partially due to Irpin, partially due to sacrifice. Strategic impact undeniable. Kyiv saved partially through one engineer destroying one bridge, sacrificing self, cutting off friendlies for strategic necessity. This decision was terrible, necessary, successful. Skakun recognized. Hero of Ukraine. Deservedly. Sacrifice was voluntary. Death was known possibility. Accepted. Mission accomplished. Others trapped involuntarily. Cost imposed. For strategic purpose. Accepted militarily. Complicated morally. Successful strategically. This is warfare's reality. Decisions affect many, or for purposes understood by few. Results justify retrospectively. Irpin teaches this. Bridge destroyed. Advance stopped. Kyiv saved. Through sacrifice. Through terrible cost. Through strategic necessity. Successfully executed. Permanently teaching. About modern warfare. About command decisions. About sacrifice. About costs. About necessity. About strategy requiring tactics. Accept costs. About individuals paying prices. About results justifying decisions. Retrospectively. Strategically. Not personally. Irpin exemplifies all. Teaching permanently. Through one bridge. One engineer. One sacrifice. One terrible decision. One necessary cost. One strategic success. Subscribe to MilFront, because understanding modern warfare requires understanding strategic necessity, sometimes demands terrible tactical costs. Irpin Bridge destruction exemplifies. Bridge destroyed. Cutting retreat. Trapping friendlies. Stranding civilians. Killing engineer. All costs real. All terrible. All necessary strategically. Russian advance stopped. Kyiv approach blocked. Time bought. Defense succeeded. Strategic result justified tactical cost. This is warfare's harsh calculus. Commanders decide. Individuals pay. Results determine justification. Irpin's results clear. Russian northwestern offensive failed. Partially due to bridge destruction. Partially due to sacrifice. Single bridge mattered. Geography. Timing. Alternatives inadequate. Destruction critical. Engineer volunteered. Others paid involuntarily. All serve strategic purpose. Successfully. Modern warfare includes these complexities. These terrible choices. These necessary costs. These strategic successes built on tactical sacrifices. Study Irpin. Understand necessity sometimes requires accepting terrible costs. Infrastructure destruction stops advances. Timing matters critically. Geography matters absolutely. Individual sacrifice matters strategically. Command decisions affect many, for purposes requiring difficult choices. Results justify retrospectively. Irpin justified. Through stopping Russians. Through saving Kyiv. Through succeeding strategically. Despite costing terribly. Tactically. Personally. Humanitarianly. All costs real. All paid. All justified by results. Strategically. This is modern warfare. This is Irpin Bridge. This is strategic necessity. This is tactical sacrifice. This is lesson permanent. Study. Learn. Understand. Warfare requires difficult decisions. Accepting terrible costs. For strategic necessities. Successfully sometimes. Irpin succeeded. Teaching permanently. Real battles. Real tactics. Real consequences. Stay informed.